Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to look at the Mattel Wrestling WWE Elite figures from Series 79 and 80, at least those of which I decided to purchase. So I got one figure from Series 79 and I got 5 figures from Series 80. I pretty much buy all the female wrestling figures they release, and I get all the male figures I think I might be able to use in my overall action figure world, usually the ones with clothes on. So I got Io Shirai from Series 79, and she's the only one, looking ridiculous with that big old hood. Then we got Bayley from Series 80. It looks like she has one of those wacky advertisement things. Kevin Owens from Series 80 as well. Ricochet, and then Erik and Ivar, two Viking looking dudes. So let's check out the packaging here. Io Shirai, Series 79. She's got alternate hands. First time in the line. One side, here she is, looking kind of angry. Other side, in the ring. At the bottom, there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And the back side, here she is, some stats there. And here are the rest of the figures from the wave. So like I said before, I buy wrestling figures I think I can use, not only for wrestling figures, but in my overall action figure collection. One of my rules pretty much is no clothes equals no buy. Roman Reigns was the only other figure in this wave that had clothes on, but I have so many of him, I decided to pass. Then we've got Bayley. I'm really excited for her accessory. Well, here's her barcode as well, just in case. Backside, here are stats. Here are the rest of the figures from the wave. I actually purchased all of them except for Kyle O'Reilly. Once again, no clothes equals no buy. Kevin Owens has a ladder and a briefcase and some different hands. Here's his barcode. Ricochet here. He's gotten some serious figure love in the last 6 months or so. And this guy is the best outfit I've seen of him so far. Looks like a removable hood. Here is his barcode. And then Erik, looking mean, with the helmet, the armor. First time in the line as well. Here's his barcode. And last but not least, we've got Ivar, also first time in the line, also with this crazy helmet and armor. And here's his barcode. So with no further ado, let's open them up. All right, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. We've got Io Shirai, Bayley, Kevin Owens, Ricochet, Erik, and Ivar. In this video, we'll take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll look at their accessories, their height, and their articulation. We'll check them out compared with some other figures of the same wrestling character. So, let's start off with Io Shirai. So here's Io Shirai. She comes with 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and her removable jacket. But before we look at the accessories, let's check out the actual figure. So Io Shirai made her wrestling debut in 2007 and signed on with WWE in 2018. She's got this giant hood with all this fur on it. It looks really cool and it feels very soft. Of course, you can pull that down, exposing your head. Face looks pretty good. Hair looks pretty good as well. The jacket has that shiny look to it. It looks really sharp on the back. We've got some foreign letters all over it. The straps, I mean, the details just excellent on this thing. She looks like she has that nice elite articulation. I see double jointed knees. We'll check out her elbows in a little bit. Overall, very pleased so far. And here she is, broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's check out her accessories, and let's start off with her hands. Here she is with her first pair of hands. These are some semi-open hands. I would describe them best as grabbing hands. They could possibly hold something rather large. And here she is with her next pair of hands. These are some semi-open gripping hands. Now let's look at her jacket. This is soft goods. Very shiny outside. Has that leather jacket look to it. All that different writing on the back. The different straps. It looks very sharp if you ask me. Writing down the hood as well. Of course, the whole thing is completely soft. It's got this fur all around the hood, and the hood can go back. Liking this. Here she is without the jacket. And here she is with the jacket on. And one cool thing about having a soft goods jacket like this, some of the other wrestling figures have a harder plastic or rubber jacket. You can't move their arms. This one here retains all of her articulation. That is pretty nice. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. From bottom to top, she's sitting at about 5.9 inches tall, which you can translate to about 15 centimeters. Now let's check out her articulation. Start with her head here. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. Her hair is soft enough to go over her shoulders. Can look up and down about that much, not too much there. Shoulders on a ball joint, they go about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. She's got a bicep cut below that, single jointed elbows below that. Her wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. She's got a ball joint. Her torso can rotate around, can also go forward and back about that much. Traditional waist swivel below that. Legs on ball joints, they can go out about that far. They can go forward that far and back, not really at all. She's got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees below that. She's got a cut above her boot, and then her ankles, and they can go back, they can go forward, and they can tilt and rock as well. And I don't have any other Io Shirai figures to compare her to. This is the first time she was released in the Elite line, and I don't believe she's been released in the Basic line. Now let's look at Bayley. She made her wrestling debut in 2008 and signed with WWE in 2012. She comes with one of those wacky advertising displays. She has 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then she has that stick she used to deflate those things. But before I look at those, let's check out the actual figure. Here's Bayley. Face looks pretty spot on to the wrestler. Hair looks pretty good as well. Bayley on her front. Single jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Overall, she's looking pretty cool. This is when she sort of revamped her image. And here she is, broken down as far as she can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's check out her accessories, and let's start off with her hands. Here she is, with her first pair of hands. These are her fists. And here's her next pair of hands. These are her semi-open gripping hands. Now let's look at her stick. This thing is completely casted in white, doesn't have a lot of detail on it. In the show, she used this thing, it was sort of a metal stick with some sharp edges to destroy those inflatable advertisement things. Here she is, holding the stick. Now let's look at her inflatable advertisement guy. These things are called sky dancers. She would always have a whole bunch of them as she made her entrance. But at one point, she wanted to debut a new look, and she came out and just destroyed all those things with her pole. That's why this thing is all deflated. I was kind of excited when I first got this. I thought I could use this for a ton of things in my action figure world, but I didn't realize it's not actually going to stand up. It's intended to lay flat. A little disappointed with that, but I totally understand why they would include this accessory the way it is. This thing lays completely flat on the ground. It's been deflated, busted up, totally flat here. You can see the base where it would use air to shoot it up. I don't know if there's another version of Bayley that comes with one of these that's not deflated. I would definitely like to get one of those. If there is, drop me a line in the comments below. Let me know. Here she is, destroying and deflating this thing. Now let's check out her height. From bottom to top, she's sitting at about 6.0 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair above 15 centimeters. Now let's check out her articulation. Starting with her head here, it can rotate from side to side. She can look up and down, barely at all. Shoulders on a ball joint, it can go out about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. Got a bicep cut below that. Single jointed elbows below that. Her wrists can rotate around, and it's going to be hinged as well. She's got that ball joint. Her torso can rotate around, can also go forward and back. Traditional waist swivel below that. Legs on ball joints, they can go out about this far. Forward, that far. Back, not really at all. Got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees below that. Cut above the boot for rotation. And then her ankles here, they go up and down, and they can't really do anything else. Here she is with the only other Bayley figure that I have. And here she is with a bunch of different Sasha Banks figures. This is her former tag team partner. And now, here's Kevin Owens. He debuted in wrestling in the year 2000 and signed on with WWE in 2014. He comes with a ladder, a briefcase, and 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. Now let's look at the figure. So as you can see, he's got his beard, he's got his hair flipped up, hair looks really good, face looks pretty good too, tattoos all over his arms, a newer version of Kevin Owens. I have some versions with the tattoos only on the top. Stun, Owens stun, fight, fight, he's got his shorts on, he's got his tall boots with red laces, looks like double jointed knees, looks like single jointed elbows, knockout on the back. Overall, looking pretty good. And then, here he is, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. On his left fist, he has some tattoos that says MSPB. Apparently those are his grandfather's initials. And here's his other pair of hands. These are some semi-open gripping hands. He also comes with a briefcase. This thing is all gray or silver. A little weak on the details. It's very lightweight. One thing pretty cool about it, it does actually open and function. You could put stuff inside of it and he can carry it around. I can find a lot of uses for a briefcase like this in my action figure world. Here he is carrying the briefcase. He holds it better in his left hand. Then he also has a ladder. This is a nice proper accessory. I can definitely find some uses for a ladder in my action figure collection. In wrestling, they're always hitting each other with ladders or chairs or stairs or all kind of different things. It's pure gray. It does have some texturing on the different steps, and it has a little bit of articulation. It can fold shut, hinged here and here. Pretty nice. Here he is holding the ladder, getting ready to smash it on somebody. And this is about the best you can get as far as him climbing on the ladder. It simply doesn't work if you want him to be midway on there. The way his feet are articulated simply can't happen. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, he's sitting at about 6.6 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair under 17 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head. It can rotate from side to side. Can look up and down about that much. Shoulders on a ball joint go at about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. It's got a bicep cut below that, single jointed elbow. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged as well. Can't really tell what's going on with his torso. He's got this permanently attached shirt, but I think he's got some kind of a ball joint in the middle. It feels like he can move, but I could be wrong. And speaking of a shirt, I was surprised it was permanently attached. I thought it was going to come apart here at the seam, but it does not. And why I find that odd, you can definitely tell his torso is finished underneath. He's got a waist swivel below that. Legs on ball joints. They can go out about that far. Then go forward that far. Back, not really at all. He's got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees, although I must say it's pointless. Because of his shorts, you can't really get use out of the double joint. He's got a cut at the boot here, and then his ankles here. And they can go back, and they can go forward, and they can tilt just a tiny bit. Here he is, next to all the different Kevin Owens figures that I have. The first 2 are basic, and the last 4 are elite. One interesting thing about these figures, you can see the evolution of his tattoo. I believe it's sort of an ode to The Rock, it originally was. And you can see it got quite a bit larger, and then even larger for this figure. Now it's like a Ricochet. He's got 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. He also has sort of a hood, and then what appears to be a hood down, so a couple different alternate display options. But before we check those out, let's check out the actual figure. So one of the first things I noticed about my guy, he's got a ton of little black paint splotches all over the top of his head. Very annoying and very distracting. Going further down, he's got this vest. Looks like it's made of leather. It's got all these little, I don't know, sequins or beads all over it. Tattoos all over his arms. Single jointed elbow. One and only on his knee pad. Looks like double jointed knees. Overall, looks to be the best Ricochet figure they've made so far. And Ricochet here debuted in his wrestling career in 2003 and signed on to WWE in 2018. And here he is, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. Here's his first pair of hands. These are some flat, outstretched hands. And then, here are his semi-open gripping hands. Now let's check out his clothing. He's got a vest, both with a hood up and a hood down. So you essentially get 3 different display options here. Here he is without the vest. Then, with the vest on and no hood. And here he is with the vest on and the hood down. Then, here he is with the vest on and the hood up. Like I said before, 3 different display options with this outfit. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, he's sitting at about 6.75 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair above 17 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head. It can rotate from side to side. It can go up and down about this far. He can actually tilt from side to side, which is pretty nice. Shoulders on a ball joint, they go about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a bicep cut below that. Single jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. He's got an ab crunch inside of here. Go forward and back. Traditional waist swivel. Legs on ball joints completely do the splits. Then go forward that far and back. Not really much at all. He's got a thigh cut here. Double jointed knees. Go all the way back. He's got a cut at the top of his boot for rotation. Then his feet here go forward and back, and they can tilt and rock just a little bit. And here he is next to the other Ricochet figures that I have. The one on the left is basic, and the one on the right is elite. There's one other basic Ricochet figure. I decided to pass on that one. Now let's look at Erik. He's often a tag team partner with Ivar. He made his wrestling debut in 2003 and signed up with WWE in 2018. Definitely has a Viking look to him. Bunch of tattoos as well. He's got 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. He's got a removable helmet type thing. Also, his forearm guard is removable, as is his shoulder pad. Now he looks angry. He looks crazy. He's got those Viking horns. Very unique. Strong beard. Tattoos all over him. Looks like single jointed elbows. Double jointed knees. I'm liking him. I was going to get him because, as you guys probably know, no clothes equals no buy in my book. But I made an exception with Erik and Ivar. And then, here he is, broken down as far as he can go. Now let's look at his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands, rocking the devil ears. And here's his next pair of hands. These are some semi-open gripping hands. Now let's look at his armor pieces. He's got a shoulder pad for his right shoulder. It's made of a bendy, rubbery material. He's got a guard for his left forearm, made of a similar kind of material. And then he's got his headdress type thing. You can see some horns on either side. Fits around top of his head and has this long thing of white hair. Here he is with no armor on. And then with his forearm guard. Then with his shoulder pad. And here's his head without the headdress. He has some pretty cool war paint on his face. And then with his headdress and all of his armor on. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, sitting at about 6.8 inches tall, which is going to translate to a little bit over 17 centimeters, and about 7.1 to the top of his headdress. Now let's look at his articulation. Of course, his head can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down just the tiniest little bit. Shoulders on a ball joint go about 90 degrees, up, down, around. Bicep cut below that. Single jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate, and it's hinged as well. He's got an ab crunch in the middle here. Waist swivel below that. Legs on ball joints can completely do the splits. They can go forward about that far. Back, really not at all. He's got a thigh cut. Double jointed knees. He's got rotation at his boot here. And then his feet go back and go forward. And they can't really do much else. And I don't have any other Ivar or Erik figures to compare them to, but here they are together as the Viking Experience. And here they are with a couple of other Viking-like figures. These are some Fortnite figures. On the left, we've got a McFarlane Ragnarok. On the right, a Jazzwares Ragnarok and Jazzwares Valkyrie. And then we've got Ivar here, the other part of the Viking Experience. He debuted his wrestling career in 2001 and signed up with WWE in 2018. He comes with 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. He's got a forearm guard on his right arm. He's got sort of a kilt type thing, and then he's got armor on his left shoulder, as well as the removable headdress. But before we look at those, let's check out the actual figure. So this guy has got a massive beard. He's got hair all over his chest and stomach. Take the headdress off. He's got some war paint. Looking pretty nice. Looks like single jointed elbows, double jointed knees. I was also going to pass on this figure because what am I going to do with him in my overall action figure world? But I just thought these 2 guys were pretty cool and unique. And here he is, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's look at his accessories, and we'll start off with his hands. Here he is with his first hands, rocking the devil ears. And here he is with the second pair of hands. These are some semi-open gripping hands. Now let's check out all of his armor pieces. He's got this forearm guard made of a rubbery, bendable material. He's got a shoulder pad for his left shoulder, also made of that stretchy material. He's got that kilt or sort of dress-like thing, also very bendable. Then he's got this helmet or headdress, looking pretty cool. Here he is with no armor on, then with his forearm armor, then with his kilt type thing on, and here with his left shoulder pad attached. Here's his face without the headdress attached. He's got some pretty cool war paint on. And then attach his headdress, and between his beard and his helmet, he looks like a Viking. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, sitting at about 7.25 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up and down just the tiniest bit here. Shoulders on a ball joint, go out 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. Got a bicep cut below that. Single jointed elbow below that. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged as well. He's got an ab crunch in the middle here. Waist swivel below that. Legs on ball joints, then go out about that far. Forward, about that far. Back, not much at all. Got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees below that. Rotation at the top of his boot. Then his feet, they go back. They go forward. They can't do much else. A little bit of rotation there. And I don't have any other Ivar or Erik figures to compare them to, but here they are together as the Viking Experience. And here they are with a couple of other Viking-like figures. These are some Fortnite figures. On the left, we've got a McFarlane Ragnarok. On the right, a Jazzwares Ragnarok and Jazzwares Valkyrie. Overall, these are some pretty cool action figures. I was pretty unimpressed with the selection in Series 79. Io Shirai was the only one I wanted, and I would say she's my favorite out of these 6. And then in Series 80, I almost got all of them. Here they are in order, from my favorite to my least favorite. Io Shirai would be my favorite, then Ricochet, then Bayley, then Kevin, and then Ivar, and finally Erik. I can find myself getting a lot of uses with these various figures and all their different accessories. Looking forward to getting Series 81 next. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comments section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.